Hey guys, it's Madison. Thanks for joining me in this faithful home. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 must-haves for RV living that I've already noticed that we cannot go without being in this fifth wheel. So if you're new here, my name is Madison. I share videos on my faith, on craft projects, and this mini homestead lifestyle that we are venturing onto. And my husband and I are transitioning to full-time RV living. And we have been in this RV now for several months, part-time. In a couple months, we will be full-time. And I have so many things already that I can see ooh, definitely need that from day one. So today's video, I'm going to be sharing 5 things for you. I will probably make a lot more of these videos because there are a lot of good things that you probably didn't know you needed that will definitely benefit you if you are RV living, whether it's part-time or full-time. These things are a must. I think the next video that I already have planned is going to be the not so glamorous stuff, so a lot of stuff pertaining to gray and black water tanks and sewage system and not that fun stuff. That's not today's video, but that is planned as well. So if you want to see more of these types of videos, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button so you feel welcomed into this faithful home with me. Let's jump right into it with number 1, which is actually behind me over here, and that is my oil diffuser. Alright, so if you have ever stepped foot inside an RV, you would know that they're not big. That's why it's called tiny living. The RV that we are in is a Heartland Gateway 3200 RLS. Nonetheless, it's a 35-foot fifth wheel. It has 3 slide outs and it is approximately 370 square feet. I know, there's a lot of space in here, guys. The thing I use to keep our house smelling nice and fresh and clean is our oil diffuser. I use Young Living. This is actually one of 2 of the oil diffusers that we have in the RV. This area down here is what I like to refer to as the downstairs. It has our living room, dining room, and kitchen, which we are actually kind of remaking it, and David and I are starting to do our progress and upgrades and different things to make it our own. So I will do an updated video on that. If you want to see the original RV tour video, make sure to check it out up here somewhere. I don't know the YouTube thing, guys. It's somewhere up there. It will definitely be linked down in the description box below for you guys, as well as on the homestead playlist. You can go check out all those videos. But like I mentioned, this place is really small, so the slightest thing like burnt cooking, the entire RV will smell. Or the fact that we have gas. We do. Guys, I fart. I will be the first to admit it. And I don't want that lingering around. I don't like it lingering around in our 1,100 square foot apartment. So even much more so, it is super nice to have an oil diffuser. I keep one down here, and like I mentioned, the downstairs, we also have an upstairs, which is just our bedroom and bathroom. We have one in there that I use at night, and it's just really nice to be able to mitigate any of the smells. The fact that your bathroom is 20 feet away from you at any given point in this RV. The oil diffusers, in my opinion, are definitely a must, and that leads me along to number 2 in my list, which goes with my other oil diffuser. Let's go upstairs into the bedroom. Alright, so this leads me to number 2, which is a sound machine, guys. So this is my second oil diffuser here. It also has a sound machine with it. That's right, you heard it, guys. Sound machines are not just for babies anymore. They are for adults too. And our sound machine has been crucial since day 1 of spending the night in this RV. Let me tell you why. Alright, so like I mentioned, this is our other sound machine we have. I'll make sure to link as much as I can down in the description box below. I know for sure that I got this one on Amazon. The other one, I think I got at TJ Maxx a long time ago, but I can link a similar one down. But if you're looking for an all-in-one, this is an oil diffuser, so it pops off here. You can put your water and your essential oils in. But what I love about this and what has been so nice is the fact that it is a sound machine, and it comes with, I believe, 13 different sounds. So this is one we always keep on. It's white noise. And there's birds chirping in the background. So I don't want to make my audio really fuzzy by keeping it playing this whole time, but this is life-changing, guys. And I don't mean to say that really dramatic, but it is. So you figure, we're in an RV, okay? These are very, very thin walls. You hear everything. You hear when someone is watching TV downstairs, you hear people talking outside, you hear the cars go by. Last night we heard a cow giving birth. Yeah, you hear a lot. in an RV that you wouldn't think. And the first night we laid down and tried to sleep, we didn't have this. We had a normal diffuser that was going, and we heard dogs barking in the distance, and it drove David nuts. He couldn't sleep. He couldn't do it. We had to have something. So I went on my phone, I went to Spotify, and I found a white noise machine like playlist and played it to get us to fall asleep. And then bought this bad boy on Amazon, and we use it every single night. I usually will diffuse either lavender or stress away, one of the two. Those are like the only ones that go in there. And then I guess I forgot to mention, but lemon and orange are usually one of the two for the downstairs. But this essential oil diffuser and sound machine is definitely a must-have for our RV. And I don't know if you could hear something kick on just now. I'm not sure about how well the audio is going to pick it up, but our next thing on the list, number 3, just kicked on, and that is the space heater that is down at my feet. So it turned itself back off, but here's what I want to show you. This is a space heater, and if you are going to be in an RV when it is not beautiful and like 85 degrees out, you will want to get at least 1, if not 2 space heaters, depending on the size of your rig. So like I mentioned, we have a 35-foot fifth wheel. It has a upstairs and a downstairs. So we have one that is downstairs, and we also have this one that is upstairs. So what's super important about this is we are very, very thankful with where we're at. We have free hookups, we have water and electric, and a sewer dump that we can dump our black water tank, and we don't have to pay for it because we are here for ministry. We are exchanging our time and our service for these hookups and to be here. But if we want to run propane, that's different. That comes out of our pocket. And a way we can mitigate that and not having to run our furnace, which runs off of propane, we use these space heaters which plug into the like normal outlet in our RV. So even with this warmer weather coming and spring definitely trying to peek its head in, these are definitely really important because RVs do not retain their heat very well. They obviously, like I had mentioned earlier, have paper thin walls. If you own one, you will soon realize that. And so it's really important to have something that's going to regulate your RV without having to run your furnace 24/7, because furnaces burn propane. Propane costs a lot of money, and you have to take your tank and you have to go fill it up, and it's a hassle. We have 2 40-gallon propane tanks that are hooked up to the RV, and we try to really keep it to where we only use those for our stove and our oven, which is we would need to run off of propane. The other thing being our furnace that we try to not use as much. We try to run these space heaters, and they actually do a super good job. So pretty much 2 of these, and then we also have a fireplace because we do have a newer RV, so we're thankful for that. But that electric fireplace and these furnaces specifically really are a lifesaver with keeping our RV temperature regulated and not spending a fortune on propane. And like I mentioned with everything else in this video, I will link it down in the description box below if I can. I know that I bought this thing on Amazon. I think it was like $100. It wasn't too bad. Definitely well worth it. It has like buttons on here, which I guess I forgot to mention, that you can change the temperature. Like I purposely put it lower so it wouldn't kick on, but I could like turn it up super high. I don't want to do that because I don't want to burn up in here. Usually we keep it to like 64 or 65, and I love the design on this. I think it's super sleek. It just sits like right here on the floor where I'm standing, and then I can still easily walk to my side of the bed, and then David can walk to his. All right, we can move back downstairs into the kitchen area for the last 2 things I want to mention in this video, but I will show you that here's where the other space heater sits. This one is not as fancy, and we already owned this one and had it like in our apartment, so we brought it, but it does a great job. This one actually like turns and swivels like an oscillating fan. Also, like I mentioned, we have a fireplace, which I turned off for this video because noise. It's slightly loud and you don't need to hear that in the background. Let's move along into the kitchen for the last 2 things, and we'll start over here. This is our electric kettle. I personally don't drink coffee anymore. I have not had a cup of coffee in, I think like 3 or 4 months now. I had some medical issues and there were reasons why I had to give it up. I had a video on that. I'll link it down below for you guys if you want to check that out after. But I have been drinking a lot more tea, and I have like a blue tea kettle. Like if you've seen any of my videos from my apartment or the house that we lived in previously, I had a blue tea kettle. I would put it on the stove, fill it up with water, heat it up, you know, do the normal like tea thing. But when David and I were talking about doing that in the RV, he mentioned an electric kettle, and he said we should really think about investing in one of those because, one, if we're using the actual normal tea kettle, it has to use propane because we have to put it on the stove. So there's using propane. It's more of a, not a fire hazard, but it's like more of a risk because you're like keeping an open flame out and you're trying to do other things. It's just not the greatest idea. And then also with the electric tea kettle, it keeps the water really hot for long periods of time. So I can fill this thing all the way up. I think it's like 2 liters, but I can fill this up. It sets on this little dome and plugs in nicely tucked away in this corner. I bought this one at Target, and it is a really, really, nice aesthetic piece for our counter because we don't want it to be like super cluttered. Don't have a lot of counter space, so we can't put like too much out, but I think it looks really pretty and it's like really nice and elegant, but it serves a really good purpose. So I can use that to make tea. I have made oatmeal where I've heated up that water, hot chocolate. There's all sorts of things that are really useful and versatile for this electric tea kettle, and that is definitely a must for being in an RV. All right, guys, last thing that I want to mention, number 5 for this video, is pertaining to washing the dishes, and this is the drying rack that you see here. This metal rack, which I purposefully left our clean dishes so that I could show you guys its functionality. Basically, there's not a lot of room in an RV. There's also not a dishwasher unless you get like the super bougie fancy like $90,000 RVs, which we did not do in the slightest. You won't have a dishwasher, and therefore you will have to wash dishes by hand. I am now the dishwasher, and that's fine. That's great. The sink that we have is actually pretty decent in size. I really do like that it's one big open area, but there's still not a lot of room. So what I have here is this dish rack. It's metal, it has open slots, it can roll up super easily, which I'll show you here in a sec. And what's really great about it is we can set our clean dishes on here to dry, the water will drip down, and then they will dry our dishes like a whole lot quicker and a whole lot easier. And so that's something that I have found a good little trick, is using that along with some drying mats that I have next to it. If we do like dinner, I'll definitely need to wash like more dishes. So super awesome about this. You can roll it up if you want to. You can roll it out and leave it. I tend to just leave it over our sink because we always have dishes that are being washed. But one thing I will say to add to it is a good tip for you guys living in an RV or spending a good amount of time in an RV is do the dishes after each meal. You will thank yourself. You probably aren't in the habit of that right now. You have a dishwasher at home. You can just throw some of the dishes in, leave them in the sink, go to cook dinner, throw them in the dishwasher, and then continue. But with an RV, you don't have that luxury. And so I've been getting in the habit of after each meal, washing all the dishes. That way I only have to wash like 3 or 4. Like everything on here is pretty much from breakfast. And so all I had to do was wash those, put them on the drying rack, and they're good. Now, when I go to make lunch here after I finish filming, I can, one, use the dishes that are on the drying rack because we don't have a lot of dishes. We live in an RV, don't have much storage. Good amount behind me, but you do have to like keep it minimal. So I get to just pick off the drying rack and they should already be dry and ready to use for the next meal. And then there's not like a bunch of cluttered space getting in the way. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed those 5 things that I find are a must for living in an RV. Let me know down in the comments below what is something that you guys cannot live without if you live in an RV. And also let me know if you are ever considering moving into an RV. Would you live the tiny life, or are you for a brick and mortar home? If you guys have not already, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button so you feel welcomed into this faithful home with me. I post videos every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern, so I will check back with you guys next week for another video. Bye, guys.